Welcome to the Meta One Coin Report, exploring the world of private digital currency through the eyes of human rights and empowerment for humanity. Here's your host, Leanne Carroll.
This episode is all about sharing personal experience, going down the crypto rabbit hole just a bit, talking about freedom, currencies, and life in general. Meta One is building a complete economic ecosystem that parallels the current economic system, creating solutions for empowerment and assisting humanity in creating an abundant life. Meta One coin holders are difference makers. They are awakened and active in creating positive change in the world. Today's guest shares a vision of a better world and seeks to understand others. It's all about creating a better life and making the world a better place. So please join me in welcoming David to the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm really excited to have you on the show today. We found you on your YouTube channel, and you had recorded a Meta One, just an explanation of what it is. And you just posted on your YouTube channel, and we found it. And I think you actually shared it with someone in our group, and we just thought it was fantastic. And I thought, I have to have this guy on the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I really like Meta One. I like sharing about it, and I'm really anxious for it to get going. Like everybody else, waiting for it to progress into all it can be. And so it was just a boiling over of, I got to do something. Obviously, I'm not a very good YouTuber compared to the other people that's done a lot, but I got to do something. So that's where it comes from.
Oh, and we really appreciate the share. You know, in this world of censorship and defamation, there's a little bit of a problem with getting positive messages out there. And that's one reason why we have the podcast, to share our view of things and our coin holders' view.
Right.
Who we are. So it's really nice to have positive press.
Right. Absolutely. I'm sure you'll get a lot more of it. It's just a drip, and then it'll be flood, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. And how did you hear about Meta One? Randy
Shaw, you've had him on the podcast a few times ago, and he called and told me about it and said, do you know anything about cryptocurrencies? And I'd watched the 2017 bull run. I thought that was interesting. And but he told me about it, and I trust him enough that I definitely wanted to look into it. And so I bought a few coins just to see what would happen. And I had some discretionary income, and it felt right. A lot of the things, it looked good. It looked good and everything. But, I looked at the board of directors and I thought, no, I'm not putting my money into this board of directors where you got, a water salesman guy, alternative healing. Not that they're absolutely fabulous people, and you've had them on your podcast, which I learned a ton more about them. But, my brain was thinking, absolutely not. I'm not putting my money into this. But my heart said, absolutely you are. And so we came to a compromise and put half of my discretionary income vested into Meta One, and the other half actually into mostly XRP. Because when I looked at the cryptocurrencies and looked at the different ones that are out there, you want the fastest, the cheapest, the one that's going to have the most utility. And the company Ripple is really going out there and making a difference in the world and putting a structure to the financial system in the world. So that one actually drives with me in my little research of which one's is going to be the best. And so I split the two, and I'm pretty happy with it. Meta One has by far outperformed it so far, and we'll see where it goes from there.
So do you trade on the Meta exchange?
I trade a little bit. Now, there's a difference between trading and an investor in my mind. A trader, is on it on a very regular, consistent basis, going up and down, watching the markets and the green candles and chasing those and things like that. Where I think an investor is looking at it and saying, well, in the long run, what is this going to turn out to be? So, in the long run, I think Meta One is going to by far dominate everything too. Just like, you know, a little in the general market of Bitcoin, if you want to go with that, it goes up and it goes down, and I try and buy the dips, but I'm not selling until it hits my target points, where I consider that as an investment, not a trader's and up and down. But because I come out about even when I try and do the trading thing, and that's not, I think the investor, where I just hold and cash out at my different points and do a strategy like that versus chasing green candles.
Okay. Do you use the Meta exchange at all, or what exchange do you use to hold your XRP and your different coins besides Meta?
Well, the Meta one will be there. I like self-custody. I like that little philosophy that it's not my keys, it's not my crypto, meaning if I don't own the pass to those, that then it's not mine. So I try not to keep anything on exchanges. When Meta one comes out and then is able to pull it off of it, you know, I might split it. Because I think Meta one is by far doing the most secure than anything out there. You know, he's already into quantum computing and different things like that. And so, you know, I think he might be safer than the ledger or these offline wallets, but we'll have to. So, you know, at the moment, if I was to make a choice, I would divide it in half, saying I'm keeping half of it with Meta one because I really am feeling trusted, worthy of that. And the other half, you know, because even on a ledger account, can it be hacked? Well, you know, there's a 24 key password out there somewhere that lets me reopen it. So obviously it's somewhere out there. And so, yeah, at the moment I would split it, but I think I might even lean more towards just leaving on my Meta wallet, because that's a long password that's pretty encrypted.
And it will be quantum proof.
Yes.
Very soon. And how did Meta One change your worldview of the monetary system?
Well, it reinforced a lot of what I already knew and added to it. You know, I learned a lot about the monetary system, the financial reserve banking, a lot of that. I knew all of that. And Meta One has just reinforced that and added to it of how, bottom line, how corrupt it is. And getting into that, you know, kind of that stuff just really pisses me off when I learn how corrupt they are. And then I got to take a step back and release the feelings, because, you know, there's something good in everything. And I got to look at it from their point of view as, you know, if I was on Jekyll Island, you know, would I have been strong enough to say, no, I'm not going to do this banking system. It's corrupt, or what I see it as in, you know, for my self gain, as, you know, as it's a business transaction. This is the way it is. This is the money world. You know, it's always fun to say, yeah, I would have done something different. But if I'd have been in their shoes with their perception, beliefs, and feelings that, you know, they had at that moment in time, I probably would have done the same thing. So I got to accept them for where they're at and try and improve from where we are.
Yeah. Well, if you would have not gone along with it, you would have had a ticket on the Titanic.
Yep.
How did you learn about the secured party creditor process? I know that you're a secured party and you've been through our process.
I imagine, I'm sure I just learned about it the same way as everybody else did, is the announcements on the, you know, our conference calls that we have on a monthly-ish basis, and learned about that. And I saw about it. And, you know, it's one of those two things that I didn't understand everything. I still don't understand it. I'm sure I don't. But a lot of times I just have to go with my heart. And it felt right. And even after I've done it and I look back at the, let's see, I went through it and I still don't know everything, but even the more I learned, the more I'm glad I did do it, if that made sense. Because the more I learned everything about the Meta One, everything about secure party process, is unbelievably honest. Everything I've looked up is exactly the way they say it is. No smoke, no mirrors, no nothing. It's the way it is. And so I'm so impressed with Meta One and their what they stand for. And I liked it. He said, because we want, of course, everybody wants Meta One to get up and get going, and wants to be on exchanges. And Robert said, I'm not going to give up who we are for the benefit of anything. Maybe I'm sure I'm paraphrasing what I heard. And that's just like good for him. You can take 5 more years if you want, but please don't. But he's doing it for the best of our benefit, and a true representative of what I want. So I'm very, very happy to be here with this Gear Party process, with the Meta One, with all the things that we're going to stand for.
And you went through the 10-hour course?
Yeah. I went through it all. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, what stands out in your mind the most that you learned that was different from the way that you were taught?
That I learned the most, that I can get out of it, that there's an answer, there's a way to a remedy, to fix it's not, a lot of times when before, when I learned about the monetary system, it's I'm a victim and there's no way I can get out of it. The only way I could possibly see of ever fixing the monetary system is if everybody quit getting in debt. If as the whole nation decided not to go in debt and could withstand the bank's 0% interest introductory balloon circus rent, or borrow, which I love the idea, but I don't see that possibly ever happen because their influence is too great. But see, Meta One has, they have a solution. They have a way of fixing it. They have a way of the equality, the empowerment, the freedom, all of this. And so I've never been more excited about a possibility of making the world better than I am with Meta One.
Oh, that's so fantastic. The total solution for making the world a better place. And that's what we're striving for. And it doesn't just stop with Meta One and the universal law, the awakening of the world.
Yeah.
How did you feel after realizing that the difference between what you learned in universal law and what you learned in school? Was there a big difference?
Well, there's a drastic difference. I mean, I was brought up through public school just like everybody, well, almost everybody else. It really brings out to the point when they say, why weren't we taught these things in high school? Why isn't people taught how to farm in high school, how to run your economics properly? How come are we not taught of, reading the Constitution as is? Why are we not taught history as is? And it really brings out to me that I like Meta One is just saying it as it is, an empowerment. I forgot where I was going with that. I'm sorry.
No, it is all about empowerment, and those are very good points. Why do we not learn how to sustain ourselves in our culture?
Well, and it obviously, so when it comes down to it, it's always got to be the power thing. You got to look at people's, why do they do what they do? What's their main agenda? And so when you can't just take, like the news. I can't trust the news for anything anymore, no matter what channel I turn to, because they're too biased in their own opinion. That like this last little one they had of a town hall with Biden. If you look at CNN, well, they have edited that puppy that make him look absolutely great, like it was a great speech and everything else. But then I try and look at Fox, and I think those guys might have manipulated it to make him look more worse than it actually was, and then trying to actually find the whole talk as is so I can see for myself. It's not even there. And so, what a disappointment.
And that's why platforms like this one and others are trying to get the truth out there. What is the truth? Is there the truth, something more true than what you're seeing on television?
There definitely is. It's and I'm so grateful for it. And I really hope that we get better platforms that we can have a true, honest discussion. And like, yeah, I still in my mind, the biggest one is still in my mind was one of the most recent was the Capitol, the rioting in the Capitol. Talking to people that have actually been there, done that on the ground, their story is so much different than what the news media's tiny clips of the worst that they could possibly blow up out of a magnifying glass of what was going on. It was, that's not that's frustrating because people's account that was actually been there, done that was far different than any media's outlet.
And that's usually the case. And it's interesting how there's people in the streets all over London and Paris, and we don't hear anything about it.
No. And why not? That is the question. Why not? And why wouldn't we? That's the question we need to ask is, what are they pushing for? I think really in that, is it Jiden Heckel? Nope. It's in the number 5 in the SBS process. In one of those readings, he was talking about, and this was written in 2000, and he was saying, what are these corporations doing with all this money that they're I don't want to say stealing from us, but however, bottom line is, what are they doing with it? And he says they're buying the media, they're buying the corporations, they're buying our social interactions to control it. And 20 years later, he couldn't be more right.
Right. Yeah. The establishment is their establishment. It's all the same.
Yeah. So, and that's where I think, in my mind, cryptocurrency is a new big changer in the world right now, right where we are. Let's break the cryptocurrencies down into 3 categories. You got a category of, well, one, the governments, the central bank digital currencies. If those come out and take hold, I assure you that it's going to be just, it's over, because they'll have absolutely total control over our monetary system. If you can think of programming your money, if they can tell you that you get X amount of money, that you can earn some interest if you get up to this point, but once you get past this point in savings, then it's going to fine you. Here's a stimulus check, you can only send it at Amazon and Walmart. It's going to be programmable money, CBCDC. That's going to be disastrous. That'll be the end of things. But the bottom line is that's the government. That's one. The second category would be the corporations that's trying to take over. Facebook, PayPal, some of these other big corporations that want to be the monetary system of the world. I'm surprised Amazon doesn't have their coin yet. And I'm so shocked they don't have one yet, but I'm sure they will. But then you have a third coin, and that is open market. The best succeeds. Who can serve the customers the best? Who can, all the other smaller cryptocurrencies that are out there. And so it'll be interesting to see what we adopt as all of the people. Which one are we going to adopt? And they all have their benefits. That does it. But if we can adopt the open market free world one, that'll be life changing and really be able to open the world to be a better place versus if a big company takes it, if Facebook becomes the world monetary system, that'll be disastrous. If a CBD central bank digital currency, then that'll be absolutely disastrous. So we have a chance. We really have a chance in this new technology to take the world back for humanity. And go Meta One.
Well, that's true. And there's more exchanges and there's more apps and there's more peer-to-peer that are being built to support a cryptocurrency or a decentralized platform. I think there will be choices. And, I do know about the central bank digital currency, and I think that's what they're preparing for. I think they're kicking the can down the road a little bit until it's ready to launch. And I think they're going to do like they did in China, as a matter of fact, and just give it to people. Here, use it, download the app, open an account with the Fed. I mean, everyone would have an account with the Fed at that point.
Right.
And I think they're going to trick us into using it. And then, something will happen that sort of makes it, I don't know, they like events. They like to do events. But
they love catastrophic events is what they like. And
yeah.
I don't doubt they'll have the upper hand benefit of that. They could have easily done that in this little pandemic. We were so excited to get a whopping 10% this whole stimulus package. Like, we are so stupid as a as a community, but but I can't blame it. I took my little 10% and invested it, put it right back into an investment. But they could have easily done it at that time. And I think they're going to have we're going to have a much more catastrophic event where you're right. It's going to be rolled out and it'll be like the only saving grace. And that'll be its chance, and we'll see.
Yeah. Because they never take responsibility for crashing the currency. And that's always where we're going, is to devalue the currency. And really, they're inflating the debt away. If you had $100,000 in your bank account last year at this time, or even the year before at this time, your purchasing power has decreased to about 85,000. It's just a quiet little tax, it's just a quiet little way to continue to rob. But I think that Meta One will be launched by then, and having the complete solution, I don't think that the the central bank digital currency will be the only option. And I don't think crypto will be the only option. I think that, and they may try to legislate away the ability to use crypto or tax it to death, or they may do something like that, but it doesn't affect Meta One because it's not in their jurisdiction to manipulate, adjust, legislate.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what when I read that and saw that, it was the biggest sigh of relief. Like, whew, how I was so grateful they have found a way to get out of the jurisdictions, to be able to have the freedom, to be able to be away from their, pandering and under their thumb. I'm sure there's much more to this SPC process than I possibly understand, and that I'll be so much more grateful for that. I am so glad I did that. I'm sure I'm going to be more and more grateful for it. But like you said, can you imagine just giving my kids money to my kids when I die? Obviously, I want to pass it on to them. But suppose my grandpa saved, he bought his house for what, $15,000 or something like that. And suppose he was doing his grandkid a favor and saved $15,000, thinking that he was giving me a huge advantage of a house. Well, thanks, Grandpa. It almost bought me a car, and so I got the money I have, and I want to give it to my kids. But when I give it to my kids, are they going to say, "Well, gee, thanks, Dad. We went out to eat today on that"? And I'm thinking, I gave them a substantial head in life. Yeah, the inflation. Oh, I can't tell you how grateful I am for Meta One to be able to pass on your things, to be able to have to be out of the jurisdictions and to operate with honor and commerce and um, it's a lifesaver. Absolutely. I have is totally speechless on how good this is going to be for the world. And I just think it's going to be a drip, drip, drip right now where we're trying to do it. And then it's going to be a flood. It's going to impact the U.S. And I don't think the government can even react fast enough to, I think we're finally going to have a good world.
Oh, I love that. And I think you're right. I think it's going to happen quicker than they can respond. And there's some other things going on behind the scenes that, may tie their hands in other ways too. So there's a lot of people doing a lot of work through the courts, which, you wonder about the courts. But the voices are heard. The voices are being registered and heard, if anything.
Oh, I almost wouldn't care if the courts went down too, because a lot of times I just don't see the justice in the court system. It can be a lot better. Obviously I can see other countries and see, oh, that's disastrous. But, it was a big wake up call to me when I got out of the pride of America and realized other countries were far better, more superior than we are in different aspects and different things like that. And it's the pridefulness of us thinking that we're the best that we don't adopt the better things that are out there. I mean, I know you can go from our food, the other countries don't want the carcinogens and we just say, hey, welcome McDonald's. Or you can say to the justice system, we lock up, a third of the population or whatever else for weed, which is dumb. But yet you look at other countries and their punishment system or whatever else is actually a rehabilitation center that actually works and brings love back to the people, so they can come back out and be productive to society and live a happy life. So it was a huge eye-opening to me to see that we got to come together and be better as a whole. That's for sure.
Those are brilliant points. And everything that you said is all about profit. It's all about, that someone goes to jail, there's a bond that's made in their name, and it goes to be traded, and there are those that profit on it. And most medical systems in developed countries are set up a little bit different. Ours is set up as a highly for profit, and the medical system doesn't get paid unless you're sick. And that's why our food is poison, our water is poison, our air is poison. It's all about profit.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is. I definitely, if I got cancer, I don't think I would stay in America to try and fix it. That's for sure. I would try and go to another place where they can have a true healing process and not try and kill me and see if I survive.
Yeah. And I think that's really what's happening too, is people are going to go where they're treated best. And it's nice to have, your money in the meta system, because you can travel anywhere in the world and use your money.
Absolutely.
Currency. So that's fantastic. I didn't realize this until maybe, I don't know, a few months ago, maybe, that anytime you take US dollars and you put it into a bank abroad, you have to report that back. And I think US dollars are the only, maybe euros, they're the only currency that you have to do that with. I mean, it's really tracked and traded. Like you don't have to do that with your meta. And I think it's because you really don't own your dollars.
That would make absolute sense. I have yet to get off the continent, but that is such a liberating thought. To me, it's absolutely liberating thought to just know that I have this password. I encrypt my password, and wherever I go, I can take my value with me. I can't imagine it that's just the justest way to do it. To be able to do that, it's totally absolutely wrong to the monetary system. I don't know what else to say. It's just awful. And I can't wait to, I'm so anxious to learn more about what Meta One's doing. Like if you look at let's look at our countries in a different aspect too. There's, kind of three different countries out there. There's, our countries like the United States or, China. We have the reserve currency of the world. And so, we want, we want the central bank digital currencies. We want those type of things. Then you have other countries that are smaller that they're not a part of the world currency. They make up their own currency. They're much smaller nations, but they have their own monetary system. And then you have the other countries which just borrow off of the world currency reserves, like the US dollar is used in some of the other countries as their national currency. So it'll make it such a better world when we have a flat currency across the board that's traded amongst everybody, that you can freely take from one place to another and operate truly in commerce from peer to peer. I tell you, I can't wait for Meta One to get going. It's just I think it'll just blow the world apart, and well, not blow the world apart, blow the world together. Because who can't look at this and say, yeah, that's the right way to do it. That's the proper way to do it. It's an honest way to do it. I mean, when we all look down to it, we're all the same. We all want, happiness and peace in our family and some fun and joy and honesty. That's truly all everybody wants. There's no difference between, races or this, that. That's the bottom core that everybody wants. And so when Meta One gets out and says, finally, I should say, when Meta One finally comes out and offers this to the world, I think it's going to be a worldwide adoption. That it's like, yeah, that's obviously what we want. There's no need for world war or different things like that. Why can't we just all be honest and honoring and accepting and go Meta One?
Yeah, it puts us all on the same playing field. Not that as far as humanity goes, it makes us all human. And
absolutely.
And there's no discrimination, and yeah, equality and empowerment. I think that's probably the most exciting thing for me, is the empowerment and the honor and the equity, and everything is right there on a blockchain, to be witnessed, and there's no way to hide. It has to be upfront and honest.
Yeah, it'll be it'll be awesome when I'm sure, like I said, I'm telling you, it's going to be a drip flood. When we can finally adopt things. I was so happy to hear on the last conference call with Robert that he's working with some influencers that are going to dominate. Because that's where the social media goes. If I'm surprised. I mean, he's so smarter than he gives us credit for. I am absolutely positive of it, that he's smarter than, I guess it's because he can't say things that, like he's probably been working with these influencers and everything like that. And, here we are all out there saying, well, why don't you do this? Or why don't you do that? I'm sure he's like 10 steps ahead of us, but he's such a humble guy. Like Robert, like I remember when cryptocurrency came out, I was like, well, how's this going to work on a coin? Like, and trying to think about dividing the coin. Can you divide a coin? Because, in my mind, no, you can't divide a coin, but, he's such a humble man. It's like, well, there's 6 decimal points to the coin. Like, duh, but he's such a good guy that comes out and he won't say duh. He's he'll talk to you, whatever level you're on. And I just feel so stupid on some of the stupid questions I asked back then, and yet he still treated me with utmost respect and personalization, and he does that with everybody on the phone. It's not, I haven't like met him in person. It's just I'm just no, I want to get into that part because it's nothing more than a phone call. That he treats everybody with such respect. Like, what an honest, honoring, good man.
Oh, absolutely. And there's no such thing as a stupid question. You're at your understanding level, and that's why you ask the question to elevate your understanding. And he's more than happy to do that. I mean, everyone at MetaOne is happy to do that. You can
Well,
call the number and you'll get a person on the phone or a human on the phone.
well, you guys are so awesome. I'm telling you, because yeah, you're right. There is no such thing as a dumb question. We all got to learn somewhere, and all I got to remember is my silly question to him about how do you divide a coin, and I, oh
yeah,
my
I
goodness.
actually think I remember that. And we just added some assets to the coin. Were you on the asset allocation call?
Oh, absolutely. I definitely, I'm on the internet. I'm watching it. I watched it go up a tiny ticking bit. Like I said, everything they said is absolutely accurate. Everything they said is there, verifiable, open source. Um,
Honest and
yeah,
upfront. Sure is, which is sort of a change as far as monetary system history goes. We're definitely creating a whole new system that's parallel to the system that exists now for us to use. It's quite the undertaking, and it takes an incredibly brilliant team to do that with an incredibly brilliant head.
right. I'm sure there's a whole team behind this whole thing, and I'd like to get to know, or introduce or know who's all behind the scenes. I mean, yeah, there's like five of you that I think are the face of it. But I'm sure there's a whole team behind this puppy that's making it a drive, which is, I would love to, I don't know, expose or not expose, meet. Um, and I'm sure, like I said, it's Robert's got he's 10 steps ahead of me in this chess game, and I'm just saying, well, why didn't he do this? And he's probably already got 10 steps ahead of me, way ahead of 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 my little thinking.
No, don't think of yourself that way. I mean, you're absolutely brilliant. And I absolutely loved your YouTube videos about MetaOne. You did a great job of explaining it, and you were just doing it to share it. And I love your passion about it. And that's one reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast, to have your opinion being expressed here. And you can share what you think and feel about it. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Is there anything else you'd like to say before? Like, oh, there's so much to talk about still.
If anybody asked me what my personal teaching in life would be, it'd be that we're all perfect just the way we are. That we all do the best we can with our perception, beliefs, and feelings we have at that moment in time, and that everybody's perfect, and that when I see somebody that pisses me off, I guess is the bottom line. I got the first step I got to do is I got to get rid of the feelings. I got to get rid of the anger, or the gift, the gift of anger that I give myself for thinking of they're wrong, if that made sense. But you got to get rid of the feeling so you can come back at peace and set. And then I got to look it through their point of view. Would I have done something different if I had their perception, beliefs, and feelings that they had at that moment in time? If I'm open enough, I should say, to be able to truly see from where they're coming from and their perceptions and their beliefs and their feelings, then I realized that they're perfect just the way they are. That obviously I would have done the exact same thing had I been in their shoes. When I realize that, then I can come and I can work, in my mind with them. Like the people that want one world order, Well, in my mind, that's absolutely crazy. I don't want one world order. I didn't want it. I don't want Rome doing it. I don't want Germany doing it. I don't want Russia doing it. I don't want China doing it. Absolutely, I don't want those type of things. But if I can see where they're coming from, like, what is their main goal? Well, what if their main goal is world peace? And that's just the best they can come up with to find the way of world peace. Well, who wouldn't want world peace? That's what we all want. And that's just their way of going about it. So, let's work with, so I can work with them and try and figure things out. And then once I can get to that point that I can, in a healing process of realizing that nobody's done anything wrong with their perception, beliefs, and feelings, then at night when I look myself in the mirror, I can say that, that I'm perfect, that I did a good job, that I haven't done anything wrong either. And I can forgive myself for the things that I may have done or that I perceived wrong, because I was doing the best I could with my perception, beliefs, and feelings I had at that moment in time. And so I can go to bed at peace with myself, knowing that that I'm perfect just the way I am, that I'm doing the best I can, and that tomorrow will be a better day, and we can improve on that. So, if anybody come and ask me, hi, how are you? I'm always going to say I'm perfect, just like you, because, in the end, that's what we all want. And I'm thinking, I'm just so happy that Meta One is here, because I think that that's going to bring an equality among people and abundance for everybody, honor, equity. I'm so excited for Meta One to take off. And I'm sure it's going to be like it's been dripping and dripping, and it's been dripping for 2 years plus, but I'm sure it's going to be an absolute flood. And the world is going to be what everybody thinks it can be.
I agree.
Well, I appreciate you. I really do. I appreciate you guys more than, the little board of directors, I guess you are, or the face of it, because I'm sure there's a team behind you. Really, thank you guys. I just, because without you guys, we're back to nothing. We're back to being helpless. We can see the problems, but there's nothing we can do about it. And there's no way that we'd ever possibly could do it. And, God bless Robert, God bless you, however you want to say it. Because finally it's going to come about that we can make the world honest, honoring, and accepting as it should be.
Right. And on a mass scale.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to tip it.
Yeah. I absolutely, because who wouldn't want Meta One when they understand it and they can see it and they can trust it and they can feel it? Who's not going to want it? The only people that aren't going to want it is people that want too much greed, and they're finally going to realize, I think someday soon, that I have more money now than I ever have in my life. And am I any happier in my life because of the money? No, I'm really not. It's a facade of the commercialism that once you have this, it'll be happier. And it's really not. It's a huge marketing facade, because, being gratitude is what brings happiness. And I really appreciate you guys.
Oh, good. At its core. And we appreciate you very much. Thank you for being here on the podcast with me today, David. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. To explore Meta One or join the movement, please visit metaone.io to learn more about individual sovereignty and what it means to become a human again. Please visit number 8, Universal Law, number 8.io. Please like, share, and comment. We always like hearing from you. If there's a question you have or a subject you would like discussed here on the podcast, please leave a suggestion in the comments. And until next time, live freely and live abundantly.